uh, a game in which the Vikings, after a very lackluster performance, decided to come back and take the lead with 50 seconds left. And I will say this, gentlemen, as a Minnesota sports fan, I sat there and when I watched them score 50 seconds, I was like, they left too much damn time on. We've seen it time and time again, not with just the Vikings, but so many Minnesota teams. But anyways, um, but yeah, so the Vikings lose. Rough performance from Mr. McCarthy until the end, and there's plenty of blame to go around. Gary, I'm going to start with you. Who's to blame for this one? Because there's a number of people you could point the finger or groups, sides of the ball, etc. Who's to blame for this one? Because it was such a winnable game.
I mean, I watched a lot of it. You got to start with JJ. The overthrown balls, the missed passes. I mean, you can't come and just decide to play in the fourth quarter. There's three other quarters of this ball game that have to be played. And I'm gonna be honest. I know he's young. I know this whole thing situation's young, but that's not what we were sold by the coaching staff coming into the season. And so the expectations put a lot higher on him, unfortunately. So every little misstep, we're gonna put that under a lot more scrutiny, and he's under a microscope. And unfortunately, those errors are pretty big. They can't afford those kind of errors in this system right now. So JG is getting magnified in it, and it looks like McCarthy's just having a rough go of it. His consistency's not there.
How
And then
much? I'll riddle me this. How much is on the receivers? Because once again, there were some drop passes, and don't get me wrong, he sailed a bunch over Jefferson's head.
yeah,
Had some errant passes, but I think was it Addison dropped one, Hawkinson dropped one, JJ
yeah,
dropped at least one or two. So I mean, how much of the onus is on the receivers as well?
yeah. There's definitely some of that too, right? I mean, you got to catch what's thrown to you. I get that, but you also, as that quarterback, you can't be throwing that pick six. I mean, there's been an interception every game. So you're putting the ball in the spots that probably aren't advised, or you're missing windows, right? So either way, you're causing some issues there. And receivers got to catch the ball. I think JJ had 9 targets, caught 4. I mean, he had 12 the week before, caught 4. You can't live like that. You can't live on that. Our best receivers got to catch the ball. That's got to be it. But the pass has to be there too. So it's a two-edged sword. Don't get me wrong. I'm not putting all the blame on JJ. I'm just saying that's right now the glaring piece. He lost 17 to 18. Okay, the defense did the damn job. I,
Agreed.
you can't. I mean, he's holding a guy to 18 points. I'm going for a win on that game. Like, so yeah, you got to run the ball more too as well. But they did this game. Just I wish it was a little more beginning of the season instead of right now.
Steve, Gary just alluded to the defense's performance, which I thought they had a good game. Talk about the defense and how they fared against Caleb Williams. I think, I guess I could pull up the stats, but he probably only completed 50% or slightly over 50% of his passes. So, I mean, they seem to do a good job. I'll say this, he's slippery as hell, man. He's very elusive, got out of some sacks there, but talk about the defensive performance on Sunday.
Yeah, I think the defensive performance was pretty good. But a couple of, they did hold them to 50% completion. They 180 total yards. He was still slippery. Uh, they tried to go into the rush plan, and I think that was fine, but we just could not get him, for as many shots as we had at him, we couldn't get Caleb to the ground. Run defense was a little leaky, 140 yards, we gave up 90 to DeAndre Swift, and it seems like we do such a good job, but then when we've got to have that stop and, late in the game, because we're just not that good overall to be able to, withstand this, that deep in, that's deep center of the field, past the linebackers underneath the safeties and stuff, that's always seems to be an Achilles heel where we just get beat. We get beat. I'm a broken record. I've said this how many times, because teams keep doing it to us. They beat us over the middle, and so our run defense was a little. But at the same time, too, you had some really good plays. I mean, Dallas Turner probably had his best game as a Viking. Everybody's been talking really well about him, and you saw Cashman had 15 tackles. So I mean, it's one of those things that it's just the only thing consistent with this defense is kind of the areas where we slip, which is the deep middle, and then our run game late in the our run defense late in the game. So, but overall, I think a great job. I mean, other than getting slippery Caleb Williams and his fingernails on the ground, that's about the only thing we could do a little bit differently.
Yeah, no, agreed. Brian,
But
special teams. Miles Price energized the fans, brought us back into the game. However, arguably the biggest play of the game came down to a kickoff after the Vikings took the lead. Talk about the special teams performance and how much of this is on them. And I got to apologize. I don't know what the player's name is, but number 37, they can pack his bags and get him the hell out of here because I'm sorry, the dude's ass. Every week, the guy plays like 5 plays, and I notice how horrible he is. Brian.
well, are you kidding me? I mean, all four of us were watching that, and what are you gonna do? I mean, that's the one time they get to get on the field, and they didn't get on the field.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, man. It's like I said, playing and blame to go around. I think we can all agree the defense is probably the least deserving member of any of the criticism. Gary, I know you are our run game guru at the Man Cave here.
Run the ball.
Yes, I will say this, man. I thought they did a great job of mixing up Jones and Mason came in on that one touchdown and just I think they after the Price returned had like 2 carries and went right into the end zone. I thought they ran the ball well. Talk about the run game from what we saw out of Jones and Mason on Sunday.
I thought they finally utilized the run game pretty well. I don't mind the mix of Jones and Mason. I think Jones, something's kind of still holding him up a little bit. Maybe it's that hammy still kind of a little tender, or just hasn't got back all the way. So that's a little different. But I like Mason a lot. I think he's a good power running back. Obviously, I think that Jones has got a little more savvy on picking up some blitz stuff and kind of that. But I think there's a good mix. I just want to see him more. I want to see him earlier downs. I want to see more of them, a heavier dose. That's the only thing that I think this game presented that. But like I said, we're 9, 10 games deep into it, and we're just finally doing that. So some of it for me is a little too late for that. We'll see what happens with Kelly coming back hopefully this week. Have a real true line, so to speak. And I hope they have a heavy dose to run. I really do.
Yeah. Steve, I know we've been critical of some of KOC's decision making during the season, and it's a tough balance as far as when to score. I mean, is he at fault at all for scoring too early when believe it was with 50 seconds left? Because like I said at the opening, when we left them 50 seconds and 3 timeouts, I was nervous as hell.
No, I don't think scoring too early because you got to get the touchdown. And the way JJ was throwing the ball, there's no guarantee that was going to happen. I think where his culpability is not making sure we kick the ball at the back of the end zone. Don't give him a chance to return it at all. The way that our defense was playing, yeah, I mean, I talked about we were leaky in a couple of spots, but overall we did a really good job, and we had a number of different drives that we went 3 and out, and we just destroyed them. And we shut them down. And there's nothing to say that Caleb Williams wouldn't have gifted us a nice fat interception right to Harrison Smith on his 200th game in that thing. I think where KOC's has some culpability is not just making sure we kicked out the back of the end zone after we score that go-ahead touchdown, but there was a 3rd and 2 play in the second half where JJ is struggling to throw the ball. 3rd and 2, we've been doing a decent job running the football. We had over 100 yards rushing. Again, 115 combined between the two of them. 3rd and 2, and I'm like, I told my son we're sitting in the deer stand watching this on my phone, and I'm like, he's gonna throw it and it's gonna be a botch. And sure enough, that's what it was. That's where I have my struggles with KOC this year is decisions like that where it's like, hey, JJ's having a rough day. His accuracy, his confidence isn't there. If you watch, The interception to Addison in the end zone, it's because he tried to put too much air on it and left it short. He was worried about overthrowing him. Other ones, he's trying to get it out quick and he's overthrowing, he's throwing bullet passes, right? His confidence just isn't there. I think that'll work itself out. But when you got a quarterback who's in that kind of situation, don't force him to do, don't give him another high pressure on 3rd and 2. Or if you're going to put it in his hands, let him run. The kid's athletic. Do a sweep with him or something like that. Let the quarterback run with it. But that's the area that I think KOC has the most culpability is play. Those two plays in particular, that 3rd and 2 in the second half, where we decided to throw it instead of running for it, and then not making sure that we kicked it out the back of the end zone. Make the Bears earn it.
Ryan, I know we're only a handful of games into McCarthy's essentially rookie season, having sat out last year with the injury. Should there be valid concern that he is a bit of a turnover machine? Because it seems like week in, week out, we're seeing bad throws. He's averaging probably 2 interceptions a game. Early in his career still. Jury's still out as far as what he's going to become. But should we be concerned about the amount of turnovers that J.J. McCarthy is having, not to mention his future and if that's going to be his mantra?
Well, I just got to tell you that, all the negativity about JJ, I still have faith that he might be the one that brings us to the promised land. I mean, he might be. He might be. Granted, as Mr. Steve said, he's firing in balls like lasers that should just be dimed, with like the changeup, as Tom Brady would say. But I think it's still early. That's his 6th start. So let's give it a little bit of time. I mean, we've had a lot of time in our time. Maybe.
All right.
Yeah, I think if I could piggyback on that real quick, when you take a look at other quarterbacks that 4 games, 6 games into their career, and you compare them with McCarthy, you're not seeing a whole lot of difference there. With some of these guys, you look at Josh Allen and Bo Nix and some of these guys in the last decade that have come out. I mean, I think we have a little bit of an unrealistic expectation sometimes that we're expecting quarterbacks to come out of college and just be able to um, superstardom here in the NFL, and that's just not I think realistic at times. And when you compare a lot of these different quarterbacks, when you compare JJ to his counterparts that have had more playing time, you look at them 4 games in, 6 games in, you look at some of these other quarterbacks, 6 games into their careers, you're not looking at great differences in their numbers. So I think the accuracy thing for JJ is going to be able to be cleared up. I just don't know, is that going to be this season or is it going to take an off season to clean it up?
I think the problem lies, though, is that a lot of those other quarterbacks didn't have the amount of weapons that JJ has. They didn't have the defense that JJ has. A lot of those other teams didn't come off a 14-2 season. So the problem is a lot of those other teams were really horseshit getting first-round draft picks really early. Whereas JJ walks in here, we go into a 14-3 season, and you're sitting on a lot of assets. So the problem is that it's hard to compare him to Josh Allen. Josh Allen had nothing there his first few years. JJ has the cupboards are full.
Right, but the amount of injuries, but you also have taken account the amount of injuries to the offensive line. I mean, they literally broke Carson Wentz's shoulder because the offensive line was so bad, and the defense, so I mean, I'm not disputing what you're saying here that, these other teams, like I remember when Josh Allen hurdled, Anthony Barr, and we're like shocked because the Bills have been bad for so long, right? I'm not disputing that at all. I'm just saying it's a little bit hard because of the amount of injuries we've had the first half of the season. Like you said earlier, I'm encouraged to see the run game with Josh Oliver, hopefully Kelly and everybody back, and really see what we can do.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's done. I'm not saying that. I just look at it like we can't just compare. They're not apples to apples here. Okay, that's all I'm saying is those are young quarterbacks. He's a young quarterback, but the assets are completely different. So there should be a little bit of a notch ahead on this, and we're not seeing the result.
we're looking at it like he's playing for the New Orleans Saints. He's not. He's took a lot of quarterbacks in this offense, i.e. Sam Darnold. They look pretty damn successful. So it's like you just got to look at the tools around him are there. He just needs to get up to speed. That's all. I'm not saying he can't do it. I just think it's just slow in nature right now, and that's what we knew we were going to have to go through.
Yeah.
We were just hoping it wouldn't be like that, and it is. And that's just the way this is this year. I'm not going to make excuses for it.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to try to get away from this game. So, Steve, give us your bad MFer. And probably a somewhat limited group, but I have an idea of a few players that are probably worthy.
There are a number of players that are worthy. I mean, our return man, that poor guy all season long has been tearing off just beautiful returns, and then somebody does something stupid and get a flag on the ground.
Number
That guy should
37.
yeah, that guy, yeah, pack his bags. They should have, where I don't know where our next road game is, but leave him there. Don't let him back on the bus.
It's in Green Bay Sunday, man. That's
Yeah,
it.
he can
Really
walk
leave him
home.
there. Of all places, you want to talk about the bunghole of America. If you're gonna get the U.S. an enema, you'd stick the straw in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Continue with your bad MFer, Steve.
So yeah, there's a number of guys who had good games. Blake Cashman, Van Ginkel had a good game. Josh Metellus had a bunch of tackles, and I'm kind of looking a little bit more on the defensive side right now, because the defense really did their job. We held we held the Bears in 19 points, but that should be enough to win. Um, Dallas Turner had a good game. People are raving about him, but I'm going to go with Mr. 200. I'm going to go with Mr. Harrison Smith, not because he had a standout set of statistics or anything like that. There's a number of guys who had better statistics this game, but Mr. Harrison Smith, 200 career games. So he's going to get, the longevity of things. He's going to get my bad FMFer. You've got honorable mentions with some of these other guys that did a fantastic job on defense as well. But I'm going to go with Mr. Harrison Smith, 200 games. Well done, sir. You are the man cave bad MFer of the game.
All right, Gary, I don't think you agree, but that's we're starting to lose you a little bit there. You're starting to freeze, but all right. So I will close out with you, Brian. 4-6. The frickin' Bears are leading the NFC North here, unbelievably. Is this season salvageable at 4-6?
Well, every game is a win. I mean, every game from here on. It just is. Every game is a must-win game. Let's see what happens.
11-6. Gary, preview the matchup with the Packers this week, and a game that I was going to attend originally, and I am now glad I have opted not to.
Well, I'll tell you what. I think they got to get after Jordan Love hard and heavy. The best thing that can happen is that they don't have their running back to be the best thing, because I'm afraid they'll put some yards on us. But I think those receivers are not scary at all. Jordan Love's not scary. I really think they can win this game. And I know it sounds ridiculous after coming off a loss like this, but the Vikings, I think, will match up well. The problem is it's in Lambeau. Probably going to be crappy weather, but that's a great game for defense. That's when defense shines. So I'd love to see the Vikings come out this thing, blitz the hell out of Love, cause pressure, throw the chips down, see what happens. And Aaron Jones can be ready for this game.
Yep.
There ain't no doubt about it. You're going to give him a heavy dose to run, in my opinion. And what do you do in shitty weather? You run the ball and you play
On the ball.
So I'll give us the chance anytime in that kind of stuff in the Central, so the North. But I don't know. Vikes on top. I'm going to say it right now, 21-14. Let's go.
I like it. I think it'll be a good game either way. I think, let's be honest. I mean, they've lost some games here, and last week was tough. But I think even some of these losses, they play decently. It's just little things. And let's be honest, our expectations are probably higher than they should be with this team coming off of the 14-3 season. But I think I predicted 10-7 to begin the year, and even that's looking like a reach. So, gentlemen, I appreciate you. That is a wrap for this week of Vikings Weekly Recap. We will be back next week. Skol Vikings. Thank you, gentlemen.